Hey everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor of Healthcare IT Today. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in health IT. And our guest today is Tim Lankes. He's VP of Healthcare at Rackspace Technology. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here.
Yeah, excited to dive into today's discussion here at the Chimefall Forum. But tell us about yourself and Rackspace.
Well, I'm a seasoned veteran now of healthcare IT. I've only been with Rackspace. I'm in my third month now.
Wow. Okay.
But I feel like I've been there a year already. So it's really been fast-paced start. But we're a cloud infrastructure and hosting company, both public and private cloud. We have 35 private cloud data centers around the world. Our healthcare division is the largest industry vertical that we have, and it's very focused on provider space.
That's awesome. Well, when you're in a hot space, it makes sense why the time flies and why you're doing so much. But tell us, what do you see are some of the maybe biggest pressures that you're seeing and hearing from healthcare organizations today?
Yeah, we like to, I think you can pretty much categorize every issue that a healthcare IT or even a healthcare leader faces into one of three buckets. One would be doing more with less, and optimizing your cost structure.
Mm-hmm.
Another would be driving innovation to improve clinical results and your patient experiences. And the third would be your security posture. So there's a lot of risk out there now, more so than there were 10 years ago. And it's really important for healthcare leaders and IT leaders to be prepared for security incidents.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to frame it. And, the one that I hear overwhelmingly is the first one you mentioned, is the cost optimization. How are they dealing with lack of revenue in many organizations and things like that? What can be done by a healthcare organization to address efforts like cost optimization, which really are so important right now to every healthcare organization?
Yeah, there's several things, but from an IT perspective, what we focus on are applications optimization.
Okay.
Your infrastructure. Do you really need to have data centers? Do you need to be in the data center business at all?
Yeah.
Analyzing the application portfolio and seeing what could land in private cloud, public cloud, what could still be done on or needs to be done on-prem, and how you can optimize that expense. You have resources. The more technology advances, the harder it is for hospitals to keep up with that from a resource perspective, especially the higher end skill sets. So, and if you decide to go on a cloud journey, typically your internal teams don't have those skill sets. So that's a constant challenge as well.
It's interesting to think through the evolution of cloud. Like, I think every healthcare organization built their own data center because many of the applications could only work in their own data center. Now that's not the case. But, from a cost perspective, do you see that as an important differentiator as you choose to go in the cloud or in your own data center?
It's still, regardless of your application type, because a lot of the applications are still not cloud native that hospital systems use. But there's still lots of opportunity for private cloud in those instances. And even some cases, public cloud can still accommodate a non-cloud native application. So there's plenty of space to do optimization around your infrastructure like that in applications.
Yeah, absolutely. As a former CIO yourself, how do you balance innovation and everything that's happening with AI, right? I mean, there's so much innovation that's happening in healthcare and technology in particular, but it may be less visible, some might say less exciting things like security posture that you talked about as well.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, I'll say. And from our perspective, we're really more of an enabler of those technologies. And one of the surprising things that you have to balance are the people change. Most folks are really worried about losing their jobs to AI, and there's another aspect. They talk about safe use of AI is a big topic of discussion. But we're on the business of enabling those changes and helping our provider clients manage through that. Like at Seattle Children's, their transformation journey required a lot of HR change management, and as we went along the technology journey. So
that's interesting. It takes a comprehensive view of what you have to do
so.
to solve the problems. That's really interesting. How are you seeing organizations' view of the cloud and data centers continuing to evolve?
That's another interesting thing I think that we face as healthcare IT leaders. I think there was a lot of skepticism 5 years ago, as recent as 5 years ago, particularly to go to hyperscalers. It was just an unknown, and a lot of back then a lot of negative press around cost escalation. You get in the environment and suddenly your costs are out of control. I think a lot of that has changed in the last 2 or 3 years. I think HCA making the move to Google in a big way really helped other hospital IT leaders see it's okay. It's something I should look at. So I think there's been a shift from I don't want to do anything outside my own data center to I can do stuff in the private cloud, which is less risky. And now there's more of an appetite to move to a hyperscaler.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that. Like, I think one of the best examples of that is Epic. Like 3 years ago even, or not very long ago, 5 years, no one would have even thought about, Epic in the cloud. But, now I think everyone's looking at it as they look through their different tech cycles, right? What would you say are some of the unique aspects of Rackspace's Epic hosting, maybe compared to the other cloud solutions that people are considering?
Well, one unique aspect is we are the largest private cloud hoster of Epic besides Epic themselves. So we have developed a core team of healthcare IT professionals that are all Epic certified. So we host the largest single instance of Epic in the world right now in our private cloud. But we're also doing Epic on the public cloud. One of our clients, we're migrating their Epic instance to AWS, and all of around Epic is very unique in the fact that you have to be certified to do anything with it. So there are some hurdles there to get over to do that, and your solutions have to be certified by Epic. So I think that's a little more unique than the other EHR providers.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of beyond Epic, how are you seeing healthcare organizations leverage Rackspace's hybrid cloud infrastructure? How are they using you beyond just the EHR hosting?
It's a great question, and we see a lot of opportunity for health systems to continue their optimization journey and their transformation journeys through the non-Epic workloads or the non-EHR workloads. We're getting a lot of interest and have several large-scale initiatives going with our 3 largest clients in the provider space to move the majority, if not all of their non-Epic or non-EHR workloads to the private cloud.
Interesting. It sounds like you're almost experiencing what Epic experienced, which is, hey, I only want one EHR vendor. I don't need an EHR and a lab and a pharmacy. So they all went to Epic.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're seeing? That they're like, I want one cloud provider that can do public cloud, private cloud, hybrid, whatever is needed. Is that kind of what you see?
I think there's a trend towards that. And the pendulum has swung from that probably 15 years ago. That was large outsourcing deals with large health systems, with large integrators. Kind of swung a pendulum to diversify your vendors, so your vendor set, and that's coming back to the other direction now. But it's important to have a hybrid solution, because you need to be able to offer multiple solutions to that same problem for your different customers.
Yeah, well, and different applications have different needs and requirements and scale even.
Cost models are different for each. So that's what we try to do as Rackspace. We try to help our clients through that journey to assess every platform that they have in their own data center and figure out what the best solution is for an optimization or transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say are some of the next trends that CIOs should be aware of when it comes, in particular, to IT infrastructure?
I think the continued technology advancement that allows higher compute, storage, new storage capabilities, those things will continue to drive infrastructure consolidation, automation with infrastructure. The more you are co-located, the more AI and automation you can apply to just how you run your infrastructure. So I think those things are on the horizon, or they're actually happening now. Healthcare providers are, historically slow to adopt.
Yeah. It's interesting. We kind of already see the future if we just look at other industries.
Absolutely.
When it comes to cloud infrastructure.
It's an interesting thing for healthcare from my experience that, and I think most healthcare leaders acknowledge they're a little behind the technology adoption curve, but we're still struggling with some of the same issues we were 20 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it's interesting to see. I think with AI, maybe we're at the forefront of certain things.
Yeah,
but I think from an infrastructure, I think we're definitely a little slower than.
Yeah.
And we were conservative, right? I mean, we have HIPAA protections and things that we needed to consider that many were afraid of initially. And, of course, now that's the kind of ludicrous idea. In some ways, it's more secure in the data center than it was. I mean, in the cloud versus your own data center.
I'm sure you're hearing it too, but I think the adoption of AI in healthcare provider space in particular is a surprisingly limited use case still out there. Outside the clinical settings of overreads for imaging and things like that, the non-clinical use of AI is still fairly limited.
Yeah, I think it depends. And it's a lot more machine learning than AI, I think, that's happening. But I think that will continue to evolve, and it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And, I think the other one that's really interesting for me is how many healthcare organizations they know they need to embrace AI, so they need partners that allow them to test it on their own systems, because they can't just roll out ChatGPT and use it. They won't sign a BAA, things like that. Whereas, if they work with Rackspace with your AI solution, you will, right? And so, that allows them to test and approach it. So I think it will be interesting to see how that trend evolves as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another hyperscaler versus private cloud issue that we help our clients work with.
Yeah.
Our AI platform does enable beta testing and even production of AI. We can do all the same compute that the hyperscalers do in our private cloud.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Tim, I appreciate you taking time to talk with us here at Chime Call Forum and share your insights and perspectives. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you want to find more great healthcare IT content like this, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com or search for Healthcare IT Today on your favorite podcast applications. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.